sometimes the best business idea starts with a ticked-off entrepreneur.
It was shocking and a little upsetting, actually. I mean, that it was the 21st century, and I'm an American, and there was a product I wanted, right?
And
it wasn't there. Like, it wasn't instantly there. It wasn't on Amazon, 2-day shipping. It couldn't be at my door.
A former Marine and Ironman competitor, Brian started Elliptigo, an outdoor elliptical machine, after losing his ability to run long distances due to years of high-impact runs.
Got into running again, and then just ran myself into the ground, is I think probably the best way to say it. So I got to the point where I couldn't run further than 3 miles.
Brian wanted to stay fit post his knee issues. Since biking outdoors wasn't as fun or aerobic as running, Brian went indoors to work out.
So I ended up going to the gym and using the elliptical trainer.
Okay.
And I found that I really liked the elliptical trainer, motion and everything.
Yeah.
But I just hated the whole gym experience.
I know, it's inside.
Yeah, it's
I'm
inside.
a runner too, so I know
okay.
I get the whole,
Yeah.
you're inside versus just having the exploration of being outside and
the
going
freedom.
wherever.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, totally.
Brian tried to find an elliptical machine for the outdoors, but that's when he got frustrated, finding that there were none. So he set out to create his own, but the question was,
Really, who in the world do I know that could build me what I want? This low-impact running machine.
Brian remembered an old colleague, Brent, who happened to be an engineer and former distant runner.
So looked around, couldn't find anything, and then called me up and it's like, hey, do you think this is something you could design or figure out how to put together? And we started working on it that day. And
In 2006, Brent and Brian started work on the world's first elliptical bike, but it wasn't easy.
we'd work on it after hours when we had time. We really didn't have much money to put towards the project either, and really the focus on the front end was on intellectual property and patents and making sure, you know, that was really the only chance we had, was making sure we had a really strong position there and have those tied up.
After months of research and 5 prototypes made in Brian's garage, Brent and Brian discovered that the creator of the elliptical machine, Larry Miller, held the patent for the sheer emotion of the elliptical. Brent and Brian thought their bike dreams were over.
I mean, I compressed time, but a lot of deliberation. Months went by and just kind of worrying about whether, you know, this whole thing was dead and we'd wasted time. And then one day, I think, you know, we both talked about it and decided to contact Larry. So that's,
and he said, okay, here you go ahead.
So we came to terms.
Since forming an agreement with Larry, Brent and Brian attracted investors, quit their full-time corporate jobs, and now research and design elliptigos from their headquarters.
Now, this over here also is, this was what your garage looked like, basically.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Most of this equipment was in my garage, and this granite countertop was a budget way of having an inspection table. It's a really flat surface, so that for checking parts and checking welded frames. All the rest of the equipment in here, the saws and milling machines, are what was actually used to make the first 2 prototypes. This is the R&D department, and so everything's designed here in the U.S. by myself and our R&D team here. We spend countless hours on the computer, and really what we're looking at here is a program called SolidWorks, and we design everything in SolidWorks, so it's a 3D model of the bike. Before we cut any metal or tell Taiwan to do anything, we model everything up here. We're actually able to analyze the stresses on the parts under simulated use from this program.
Wow.
The 40-pound bikes are made in Taiwan, the bike-making capital of the world.
The arms here are all made of carbon fiber. And most of
What's the advantage of that?
So stiffness and weight.
Got it.
As well as you're able to make nicer looking shapes, so these nice sweeping shapes, and you can mold very cool shapes. And that's throughout the bike, that's really tooling up a production product, and spending money on tooling and going to Taiwan allows us to make all these really nice sweeping shapes, elliptically shaped tubes, and just
Now,
make it.
did you know that? Did you know the material that you would need to use to get the shapes? Or did you design it and then go, okay, shoot, we got to find what'll fit for that and make it not weigh 160 pounds?
It's really a bit of back and forth. You know the processes that you're going to use welding or that you're going to use an extrusion for a certain type of material, and that often dictates the material you use. And then most of the time, you know going into it when you design what materials you're going to use.
Well, that's why you're here, because you're the engineer. What surprised you so far?
I think just the progression of things, and just even looking back a year and a half ago and saying that we'd be at this point, I couldn't. So things have really accelerated in the last 2 years. And,
Wow,
and
more than you thought.
more
Usually you
than
hear
we
the
thought.
opposite. People going, it takes so much time. I can't believe it.
It does in one sense, but I mean to the point where we actually have customer out to product, or product out to our customers, and it's really exciting.
The sleek Elliptigo has caught the eyes of many at athletic events throughout California, and the first shipment has long been sold out.
In terms of the size of that market, there's about 40 million runners in the U.S. And any given year, about 1.5 million of them have to give up running. And they face this dilemma of, what do I do now?
Yes.
And so we're really trying to provide that solution of, do the Elliptigo.
Yeah.
Run.
Still be outside.
Yeah, run, just without the impact.
So what's next?
So a lot is next. We are trying to build a sport here, really trying to father an industry. Because the business is like any business, you know, there's bad days and grunt work that has to be done, and taxes that have to be filed, and books that have to be kept, and all those other things.
Exactly.
But when you get out and go for a ride for, even if it's just a half hour, you remember, you're like, you know what, this is cool.
Yeah.
Like, this is cool. I like what I'm doing. I like what we're bringing to the world.
So far, this startup is on a real roll.
Yeah. I'm off.